Find Your For show. This is where we are going to help you with creative mindset tips and secrets for your freedom lifestyle. This is for multi-passionate women that are building their life and business their own way. I'm your host, Joyce van der Lely, and today my guest is Liz Scott. Liz is coming to us from Canada. Welcome to the show, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Now, for those of you that don't know Liz or haven't come across her on your path yet, she is a business fire starter and her business is called Affinity Coach. Now, you have a lot of experience in helping small businesses and tell us a little bit what you do.
Yeah, sure. So my background, I was a sales and marketing VP in the high tech field for 25 years and left that and became a professionally certified coach.
Yeah.
And I've been working for probably the last 4.5 years with solopreneurs,
Yes,
as well as small business owners. And I predominantly work with women because, to be honest, I think they're a little more receptive to taking coaching and consulting advice.
Yeah. So yeah, you specialize in helping small businesses, and what makes it for you so interesting in working with small businesses and solopreneurs?
Well, I think it's a unique kind of person who decides to venture out on their own and start their own business. So, what I find is that a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs are really good at what they do and they're very passionate, but the area that they struggle is sales and marketing. And so because that's my entire background, I realized pretty quickly that my gift to the entrepreneurial community would be helping those people get out there with their products and services so that they get noticed, so that they can actually build up a viable business.
So do you work with people that have brick and mortar businesses or online businesses, or do you do both?
I do both. So I do products, I do services, I do bricks and mortar stores, I do online businesses. Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me.
So you get to see a lot of different and a huge variety in businesses. Do you have a favorite genre of business that you like to work with?
I don't really, and that's so interesting. You're the second person who's asked me that question in the last week or so, so I don't know if there's something happening in the universe, if I'm supposed to pick one. But I would say, rather than a specific industry or vertical or type of business, I have a type of person that I prefer to work with. And that is, as a lot of female entrepreneurs, I like to work with somebody who is, fairly heart-centered. So they love what they do and they want to share it. But, very high energy, highly enthusiastic, willing to be open and try different things. Like, you can't be set in your ways if you run your own business, which I'm sure a lot of your audience already knows. And just people who are, I often, as a lot of coaches do, ask that scaling question of, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to making your business a success? The 10s and the 10 pluses are the people that I love to work with.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because they are fully committed and wanting to do the work, because it does involve work, doesn't it?
Oh, of course it does. Yeah.
Because so often nowadays, especially online, there are messages that it almost is a miraculous thing and it almost falls into your lap. And a lot of starting entrepreneurs get a rude awakening when they find out that there actually is a lot of work involved. And then it's like, whoa, I did not know that. So that is important, of course, for you, that when you work with somebody, that they realize that there is work involved and that they're committed to do that work, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the unfortunate things that I think that goes on under the sort of coaching title or mantle, I guess, for lack of a better term, which is that, if it was easy to go from 0 to 6 figures in 6 months, then everybody would be in 6 figures.
Yeah.
So, one of the downsides that I really don't like about the industry is that people who create that illusion and just take
Yeah.
people's money, and they're like, okay, well, now you've paid me, so, I don't care what your struggles are. So, part of what I try to provide for my newer entrepreneurs are the support.
Mm-hmm.
So you can call me, you can talk to me, you can have a conversation. I will walk you through, if you feel like you're just having an incredibly tough time, which all new entrepreneurs do, all
And I think,
experienced
yeah,
entrepreneurs.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was to say. Yeah, even
Mhm.
experienced ones. Yeah,
Mhm.
because we all encounter those hurdles and bumps in the road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. So how do you deal with that yourself when there's a bump in your road?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I've been fortunate enough to surround myself with some pretty incredible entrepreneurs that are there to support me and share their wisdom with me. Sometimes I do a little yoga, sometimes I do a little meditation. Um, I try to put things in perspective.
Yeah.
And, I think, which is not always easy to do, don't get me wrong, but to try to look at those kinds of things with gratitude, because there often is a lesson in there that we can't immediately see. But sometimes I think when I'm going through those tougher times in my business,
Mm-hmm.
I realize that on some level it's going to make me more empathetic and probably a better coach and consultant to the people that I work with, because I've walked a mile in their shoes.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm putting on that, what I like to call, Facebook facade where everything is perfect and everybody's business is wonderful, because that's just not reality.
Mm-hmm. And I think that is an important thing that you just touched on, that we need to open our eyes to reality and be realistic and be honest.
Right.
We can help each other, but we still need to be honest, and yeah, hiding the things that happen in a business, when you build a business, when you work in a business, when you grow your business, it just needs to be open and visible. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I do. And I call it showing your ugly,
Yeah.
which is really just like, let's get raw and real, and have a real conversation about what you should be expecting. And that's, with some of my newer entrepreneurs as well as my more advanced ones, I'm pretty pragmatic and pretty blunt about some of the things that you just need to expect are going to happen, because that's just the natural course of growing a business and starting a business.
Yeah, because that's what they get with working with you. No
Yeah.
nonsense approach, right? No
Yes.
nonsense
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
But you do make marketing and sales fun,
Yes. Yes.
because it can be.
Absolutely.
So
It
tell us,
can be.
yeah, how do you do that? Because a lot of
Well,
people think that it's a little bit like, they rather not touch it.
yeah. I think the first thing is, and particularly for women, a lot of women shy away from the selling piece of it. They don't like to feel like that sort of used car salesman,
Yeah.
if you get what I mean. They feel sometimes sales feels a little bit schmarmy or icky to them.
Yeah.
So one of the ways that we make it fun is just to say, okay, well, if you were having a conversation with your girlfriend and she said, listen, I've got a problem, can you help me? What would you say?
Mm-hmm.
You would say, of course I'll help you.
Yeah.
And so really that's all a sales conversation is finding people that have a problem that we can solve.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're really serving our community. We're not selling to our community.
Mm-hmm.
And just phrasing it that way, I just watch my female entrepreneurs go, oh yeah, that makes so much sense to me, because we're helpers. We want to help, right?
Yeah.
So that's one way. And then just marketing, I let you utilize your own gifts and talents and strengths and what I like to call your zone of excellence, and to dovetail that into a marketing strategy. So there's a lot of marketing coaches, consultants, gurus, whatever you want to call them, who have a cookie cutter approach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't work. I mean, if you don't love to write, then why would you write a blog 3 times a week?
That's going to be a hard thing to do. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, the cookie cutter feels it's like fitting in boxes.
Mm.
I always say I love boxes. I love the look of boxes, and I love boxes to put things in. But I don't like to try and fit in a box. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
I think as entrepreneurs, a lot of us don't, and
Mm,
we don't know often on our journey where it's going to take us.
mm-hmm.
And so let's focus on the things we love to do so that when we do market ourselves, we come across as authentic and caring, and that makes you very client attractive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you work with people, do you make a marketing schedule? Do you plan ahead those kind of things, or how does that work? For a lot of creative and multi-passionate women, sales usually is something that they put, and marketing is something that they put at the bottom of their list. So do you think it needs to be scheduled in and planned ahead to be successful, to
Ooh,
be
that's a great
working?
question. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a great question. I do. I absolutely do. And it's so funny because when they did a poll in Marketing Sherpa of entrepreneurs, now this is North American data,
Mm-hmm.
only 17% of all business owners ever do any sort of marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
And most of those who do it because they want to get some sort of government funding and they want a business plan, and the business plan has to have a marketing plan.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason is people don't know how to do it. They think it's overwhelming to do it. And I know I have a way to do it that's actually quite simplistic. So
Mm-hmm.
do I think you need to schedule marketing activities and create a marketing plan? 100%. Absolutely, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you should be spending about 50% of your time on sales and marketing to keep your business in a healthy place.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, well, there you go, 50%. I think that is not always happening.
No, it's not. No, of course not.
No.
No, no,
Because
no, no.
especially with people, women that are creating, they rather spend their time creating, and 50% is a lot of time set aside for marketing. Yeah.
Marketing and selling,
Mm,
50%.
mm,
And you're absolutely right. And that's why people struggle with that piece in their business, particularly people that are in the creative field, because I do work with um, writers, artists, interior designers, even yoga teachers,
yeah.
anybody who's sort of in dance schools, like anybody who's in that creative realm
Yeah.
is a challenge to get them to spend the time on sales and marketing. And I think one of the reasons that they benefit from working with me is that I teach/advise them exactly what they need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're not wasting a lot of time and energy and getting frustrated.
Mm,
I'm like, okay, here's what you need to be doing. Where you choose to do that is up to you.
yeah.
But these are the kinds of things that you should be doing.
Mm. So do you enjoy working with challenging clients like that? Do you
Yeah,
enjoy a challenge? Do you enjoy
yeah,
a challenge?
I enjoy a challenge. Yeah, I love my creative guys because they're in some ways they're my best clients because they defer to me because that's not their core competency.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's they're very open and they're very willing to try new things, and maybe that's because they're of that sort of creative mindset. But no, they're often my best clients, and so genuine and so talented, just incredibly talented. Yeah.
So what made you as a younger person when you first started, what attracted you to sales and marketing in the first place?
That's sort of an interesting question because I fell into it as a lot of people do, fall into the corporate world. I graduated from university and I needed a job.
Yeah.
And so my cousin's husband was working for a very small tech company. And my background is in psychology. So I just went into this small business, and as all things with small business owners, I wore multiple hats. So I did some of the administrative work. I did some of the purchasing work. I did some of the marketing work. And I loved the marketing and selling side. And so I sort
And
of
stuck with
progressed
it.
my way through that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know how it is to wear different hats and to do the different parts in your business. How important do you find it for people, women entrepreneurs, to start delegating parts of their business that might not be their zone of excellence?
Right. And so that's one of the things that I spend a lot of time with my clients on, that they should be outsourcing things that are outside of their core competency or their zone of excellence, because chances are they're not good at it. They don't know how to do it. They waste tons of time with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you an example. You know, a lot of people try to create their own website.
Yeah.
And it takes them hours and hours and hours, and it doesn't look great, and it doesn't have the functionality that they need. Whereas they probably should have outsourced it to somebody who knows what they're doing. But here's the argument I get all the time, particularly with my new guys. They say, well, Liz, I don't have any money. I don't have any money for that. And I say, great. Then, you know, go to a local college or go to your networking circle and find somebody who is a web designer that needs what you've got to offer, and do an exchange.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so you're not actually paying for it with, you know, dollars and cents, but you're doing a service exchange. And that's the way a lot of newer entrepreneurs get things done in their business.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get more profitable, then they can, you know, start to pay other people. So you can always outsource. And I don't let my guys use the excuse that, well, I don't have any money for that.
Yeah. It is difficult because there are so many things that you can find out online yourself. You know, you just Google it and there's an instruction video and people think, oh, well, I'll just follow the video and then I'll be able to do it. So, you know, it's tempting, right? It's tempting to start to find out everything by yourself and do it yourself. And especially creative people will be tempted to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tempting to everybody, but you know, people who come to me because they want to become efficient and profitable quickly.
Yeah.
So one of the fastest ways to do that is to do what you're great at and do what you love, and let other people do your bookkeeping, your web design, you know, some of your administrative tasks. And maybe that's as simple as just buying, you know, QuickBooks or an accounting piece of software, and then get somebody to install it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm not necessarily saying that it has to be a person. It could be a system or a strategy, but we can't do it all. We just can't, because we're women. And don't forget, we're doing a lot of other things in our lives too. We're mothers, we're daughters, we're sisters, we're grandmothers. You know, we've got to look after our self-care. We want to have time for our friends. I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff as female business owners.
So you said you work mostly with female business owners, and are those kind of things that you advise and that you point out to them that it is important to have time for yourself? And
you
know, that you schedule in your time, that you plan in your things that you do in your life?
No, I don't do that. I don't do that. But what I do for them is, first of all, women entrepreneurs are very hard on themselves.
Yeah.
And so I allow them permission to look at all of the great things that they have accomplished.
Yeah.
And to not beat themselves up when maybe they feel like they haven't actually been a great mother that day or a great sister that day or whatever that looks like. And I'll give you an example. In the summer, most of my clients have children who are home, even college age. And they say to me, Liz, you know, they're in college, they come home, they're back to like they're 12 years old again. They expect me to make their dinner. They expect me to do all these things. So what I do for my guys is I just say, listen, allow yourself to understand that the summer, you're not going to get as much done in your business as you do in the other periods. So plan for that and allow yourself to accept that and not be saying, well, the second my kids go to bed, I should be pounding back on my computer. And, it's physically impossible to be as productive when you've got children at home as it is when you don't. So just accept and allow that that's what's happening in your world.
Yeah. So plan those kind of things, as you said. You plan it in that you are taking more time for yourself, and then in the times that they are at school or that you have more opportunities to work, you can plan some more.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that I don't schedule or ask them to schedule time is because honestly, I've never found that that's effective for creative entrepreneurial thinkers. I mean, very few people, we like the spontaneity. That's what we like. So if we decide on a Friday afternoon, we're going to have a glass of wine with our girlfriends, then that's what we want to do. We don't want to pencil in every single thing because that's just not who we are at our core. Yeah. So if I say to my guys, okay, I want you to schedule in me time and self-care time, and it doesn't work for them. It just doesn't work.
I spoke with somebody else who said she does plan things in her calendar, but she plans it very spaciously so that there is the time to be impulsive and do something on.
So that would work too. Yeah, for sure.
But the marketing is important to schedule that and to plan that ahead, right? How long forward do you plan? Do you plan 3 months, 6 months, a year?
Yeah, I mean, the bare minimum that you should be planning is 90 days. So what I usually tell people for market planning is you can look at your whole year and put in major things that are coming up. So if you're attending a conference, if you're going to do a trade show, for me, I do a lot of speaking engagements. So when I know I've got speaking engagements in 2019, they're already in my marketing calendar.
Yeah.
And then break it down into 90-day increments, and then populate your, what is your goal for 90 days, whatever that looks like. I want 5 new clients. I want $10,000 more in revenue. And then break that down to the month. What are the activities that I need to do to hit my goals? So here's the thing that people get really hung up with when they think about creating a marketing plan. They think that they have to do something new and different at least every quarter.
Yeah.
But you don't. You just take what's working well and then you shift your geography slightly, or you shift your target audience slightly, right? So I don't want you to create new marketing campaigns and schedules every quarter. I want you to figure out what's working well for you and do more of that. Just shift slightly to expand your potential client base.
Yeah. Well, that takes off a whole lot of pressure, because otherwise you have this urge to constantly have to come up with something new and something different. Yeah. And that takes a lot of time to create something again. So then the whole thing becomes such a big mountain.
Right. And that's, that's one of the issues that I have with content marketers.
Yeah.
Is that they encourage you to constantly be creating new content over and over and over. But that's exhausting, right? It's exhausting. So what I say is, no, get an excellent piece of content, reuse it, repurpose it, redefine it, just use it until it's used up, and then create another amazing piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I just don't see how, with everything else we have to do as business owners and women, those content marketers blow me away, because I'm just like, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. So no, that's an interesting perspective, because it does make it easier to think ahead then, because then you, as I said, you don't have all these mountains to constantly look up to, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Then it is more tangible, more understandable. And easier to fit in. That makes a lot of sense. Yes, you're the first one that I heard say this, because
that doesn't surprise me.
Because most of the times what you hear is more content, new content, more content. And yeah, it is, as you said, it's overwhelming.
Hmm.
Mm,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is then the reason why people start to procrastinate and people start to put things off and maybe not plan at all anymore because it
Well, because
feels.
they get completely overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm,
So it's the reason that people, entrepreneurs especially, don't do something, I've found from the last 4.5 years of working with them, is either they don't have the knowledge to do it.
mm-hmm,
So how would you know how to do a marketing plan if you've never done a marketing plan? And yes, you can go online, but it's not easy to discern how to do it simplistically,
mm-hmm,
or they're afraid to do it. So
mm-hmm.
they've got some sort of block. So it's either knowledge or a block
Yeah.
when they're really stuck, and then they procrastinate and they just say, I'm not going to do that.
So when you meet with somebody that has one of those blocks, you help them overcome those blocks. You help them because they are just mindset things they need to shift, right?
Some of them are mindset, and some of them are just, I have very easy tools and templates to get the work done for them.
Yeah.
So I just take all of that and say, okay, here's the 3 things that you need to do, and here's the steps that you need to take. And I teach them, I give them the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
to know how to do it. If they're stuck on something, then yeah, I mean, if I've given them the tools and they're still stuck, then there's a block. Then we talk about, okay, well, what's really going on here? Because that there's something else going on.
Yeah. And you need to shift that first then to be able to move forward, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have amazing information. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to share? Anything that you would like the listeners to know about the way you work or what you do or what they can, something valuable that you can give them a tip or something like that?
Yeah, I would say just try to keep your marketing as simple as possible, because usually one of 2 things happens is the category is so vast, right? It could be anything from a new product or service, how do you price it, social media, what's your digital platform? I mean, it's huge, the term marketing. So entrepreneurs tend to either get completely overwhelmed because they don't know what they should be doing, because should they be writing a blog, a book, doing Facebook Lives? It's like, I don't know what I should be doing, or creating
everything.
Yeah. So they get overwhelmed, and then what happens is they're doing a lot of things that are not effective, and then that's a frustration. You've wasted time, you've wasted money. The flip side to that is, it's paralysis analysis. So there's so much that they do nothing. So they just, as I call it, hide behind their computer. So they're just like, okay, well, I'm just going to, create things in a vacuum, because I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah, I mean, I would say pick a couple of things and do those well. I would say the same thing for your digital presence, which is, don't try to be on 5 or 6 different social platforms.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to work. So, pick 1 or 2 and get your audience really engaged with you. Establish yourself as a thought leader, get people to know who you are and what you're all about before you move on to another platform. Because social media and entrepreneurs, it's like the panacea. Like, entrepreneurs can just sit on social media all day long, and then they come to me and they go, well, I don't have time to do stuff.
Yeah.
And I say, well, what are you doing? And they're like, well, the average entrepreneur, this is North America stats, but it's funny. Yeah. The average entrepreneur spends 67 minutes every day just on Facebook alone. 67 minutes. Now, are they spending 67 minutes doing stuff for their business? Or are they stalking their friends, looking at funny cat videos? They're not spending an hour on social media, on Facebook. So if you look at, maybe you're on LinkedIn, maybe you're on Facebook, maybe you're on Instagram, I mean, you've chewed up a whole morning every day just on social.
Yes. Yeah. And
So
that does
don't
not bring in any.
that. I do not do that.
No. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's there are apps though that you can block, that you can close your social media for a while. They could work.
They could work. They could work. And listen, I'm not opposed to social media. That really is for business purposes.
Yeah.
But I know what happens. People go down the rabbit hole. They start to get distracted. And it's a procrastination tool. Oh, I'm just going to check my Twitter feed. Oh, I'm just going to look at, LinkedIn and what's happening last night. And, I mean, entrepreneurs use it as a procrastination tool.
Yeah. I know I have turned off all notifications so that I just don't know unless I log in. I don't get bubbles on my phone. I don't get sounds on my phone. So that is beautiful. Yeah.
That's very smart and good for you, because that shows a lot of self-discipline, because a lot of people just won't do that. And it becomes almost like, that Pavlovian response when, the bell goes and then the dog starts to salivate. It's like we can't. and it's interesting because I actually read a study that said that ping on our phone, or when, we get a new email, actually releases endorphins in our body.
Oh, it does?
Makes us want to do it more, because somehow it's making us feel excited, like, oh, something's happening.
Yeah.
And so, we're consciously being addicted to the little pings that come in all the time. So good for you. A lot of entrepreneurs are not that disciplined, including myself.
Well, the first thing is that when I create, I love silence. Because it's busy enough in my head. So I don't like to get distracted. Yeah. So I actually have no internet in my studio creative space. So
that's good.
So that there are no distractions, because I do get distracted otherwise, and I know that. Yeah. But I think you've given us very valuable information for our marketing, especially since, I'm a creative. I work with a lot of multi-passionate and creative women, and a lot of women that are listening today, they will hear their own, own things come up. So this is really, really valuable information. And I think, yes, the way you put it, marketing can be fun, and it can work for us as well. So everybody that is listening, there's a golden button beneath this video. There is a gift that Liz has so gratefully offered to everybody. So your gift is a marketing mistakes. What is your gift again? Sorry.
My gift is a complimentary strategy session for you, so that we can take a look at what potential marketing mistakes you might be making.
That's it. So that's awesome. So click the button and you can have a conversation with Liz and find out exactly what will work for you. And because Liz makes it work for everybody differently. She's not a cookie cutter princess. She makes it personal, and that is so special about your services. So thank you so much for all your information. Thank you. It's been really great having you here and sharing all this with us, because it is a difficult part and an essential part in every woman's business. So thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks to everybody that tuned in. Do check out Liz's offer. Just click the golden button. Everything else about Liz is here on the page as well. You can find out more. You can find the link to her website, so you can know exactly how to contact her and what she could be meaning for you. And check your inbox tomorrow for more information on the Find Your Force show. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.